While we've all been focused on the latest chatbot or AI image generator, a much quieter and, honestly, a much higher stakes race has been kicking off. It's a race to own the actual plumbing of the future. And today, we're diving into how Saudi Arabia is using its incredible wealth to make a massive power play for artificial intelligence.
So just imagine for a second, you're a really skilled engineer living in Berlin. Life's good, but maybe a little predictable. And then one day, an email pops into your inbox that feels like it's from a completely different planet.
And this offer, it's not just for some new job. It's an invitation. An invitation to help build a massive 170-kilometer-long mirrored city smack in the middle of the desert. It's basically a sci-fi project coming to life. But it's what you see next that really changes the game.
$300,000. Tax-free. Yeah, this isn't just a job offer, right? This is a statement. It's a tiny glimpse into the sheer financial firepower being aimed at one single, incredibly audacious goal. Okay, so that story about the engineer, it's really just a peek behind the curtain at a much, much bigger national strategy, the birth of the Silicon Desert. The goal here is pretty simple, actually. Transform all that oil wealth into the world's next major hub for technology.
So what's really going on here? While a lot of us are looking at the surface level, the apps, the AIs we can talk to, the real competition is happening way deeper. It's a race for the hardware, for the data centers, for the raw computational power that makes all AI even possible.
All right, so what's the strategy? I mean, if you're decades behind Silicon Valley, how in the world do you catch up? Well, you don't just try to participate in the market, you try to buy it.
And the game plan is, well, it's brutally effective. You take the immense profits you get from oil, and you convert that cash directly into the most valuable resource of our new digital age, those high-end AI chips. You buy them up at a scale and at a speed that almost nobody else can match, basically trying to leapfrog the entire competition.
And this quote gives us a really important way to think about it. You know those futuristic cities you see on the news? They're just the flashy exterior. The source we're looking at calls them hood ornaments, on a much more powerful engine that's being built underneath it all, a truly world-class AI infrastructure.
But here's the thing. There is a huge fundamental problem sitting right at the heart of this entire plan. Building an AI superpower in the desert means you're basically making a high-stakes gamble against nature itself.
Okay, so here's the massive conflict in a nutshell. On one hand, the supercomputers that power all this AI, they generate an insane amount of heat and have to be kept extremely cold just to function. On the other hand, the Saudi desert is, of course, one of the hottest places on the planet. Solving this cooling paradox is basically the key to this whole venture succeeding.
So you gotta ask, right? Beyond all the tech and the crazy engineering challenges, what's the endgame here? Why pour hundreds of billions of dollars into this? Well, the answer comes down to one word: control. It all boils down to this really powerful idea called computational sovereignty, which is basically a new form of power for the 21st century. It means a country no longer has to rely on foreign tech giants. They control their own data, they develop their own AI, and they own the physical hardware that it all runs on.
And what does this kind of sovereignty unlock? Well, pretty much everything. It means creating the dominant AI for the entire Arabic-speaking world, which lets you shape culture and the flow of information. It means total technological independence. The source material puts it pretty bluntly. It's like gaining God mode cheat codes for the digital age.
And this brings us full circle, right back to that engineer from Berlin. The vision is incredible. The money is just staggering. But it needs people, talented people from all over the world, to make it real. So what about you? Would you take the deal?
So let's pull back for a second. What does all of this add up to? This isn't just about one country's ambitions. What we're actually witnessing here is a potential blueprint for a completely new era of global power.
Think about it. For a century, oil has been the critical resource. But what we're seeing here is oil being used as something totally different, a financial launchpad. It's the cash being used to buy the foundation of the next century's power, maybe before the rest of the world even realized that it was on the market.
Which leaves us with one last, really big question to chew on. We've all heard that saying, data is the new oil. But what happens when the old oil buys up all the new drills?